dialogue.
Has
or
Disney
whatever.
done of late any male character that was very testosterone? Can anyone think of
No,
one?
Well,
no,
the closest thing is
it's
actually
Thor.
Daredevil. The only reason I say it is
Well,
because
It
despite
wasn't Disney.
there was the walk of shame, but he did kick ass first and even nailed She-Hulk. So there's like that requires some level of testosterone.
But the the whole notion of Daredevil is that he's a vigilante. He hates what's happened in his city, in his community, and is going out of his way to get his ass kicked to try to help the people of his community. I mean, he's kind of a crazy guy, very Batman-y in a way, and that's what was enjoyable about him. They're gonna, in some ways, that walk of shame, which you know, it was a silly throwaway, but Disney keeps wanting to pull this what I'm euphemistically now all calling the lightsaber being thrown over Luke's shoulder. Like that's another moment where we really don't care about Daredevil. We'd rather get the one-off joke.
yeah, and
It's
that's where I
terrible.
kind of brought up Thor as probably one of the only other characters that was at least testosterone driven until recently.
Yep. Yep. They don't. And obviously the Punisher. They're not going to know what to do with him. I mean, he's a madman.
I've heard some rumors about that, and I don't like them at all. Because what we heard before was that John Bernthal, he had some requirements to return to the role. Like it's very, very important to him that the character be
Good for
done
him.
right, that the character appeal to the police, that the character appeal to the military. And all of this was fine up until very recently. But now suddenly Marvel themselves sees the Punisher as problematic. You had the Punisher's co-creator. What's his face? Help me out. The guy who co-created it. I have to look it up here.
Oh, shoot! Now just
Give me a
by the time you find it, yeah, I was gonna say by the time you find it now, somebody will get it in the chat too. But yeah,
yeah, exactly. What
There's always
should
that
just pay
delay.
attention to the chat and we'll see who finds it first. Who co-created the Punisher?
Mike
see.
Barron.
No, not Mike Barron.
The other guy.
Mike Barron,
Jerry
I would say
Conway?
he properly created the Punisher.
Gary
Jerry
Conway.
Conway. Jerry Conway is the one I was looking for.
Yeah.
Jerry Conway, he co-created the Punisher in the Amazing Spider-Man issue 129. And then initially he created him as a villain, sent out to kill the Punisher, kill Spider-Man, tricked to do so by the Jackal. And then the Punisher made several later appearances in Spider-Man as that same villain, still written by Jerry Conway at this time. However, he didn't have an origin story. His origin story was only prepped later on. And that was, let's see, I have that here as well, who did the origin story. Insofar as I am aware, the actual origin story was actually that also was Jerry Conway, I believe it may have been. So yeah, he came up with the revenge angle, everything like that. So but that's what he did. So he did the origins of the character and how he looks and everything. That was Jerry Conway. But the personality of the character from then on out were all a bunch of different writers. First and foremost, it was Mike Zeck. Then it was Barron. Barron was the one who really defined the Punisher, and then you have Chuck Dixon that further built upon that until Garth Ennis took it in a slightly different direction. And this is the iteration that is most people's favorite, I think, certainly my favorite. So between like Mike Barron and Chuck Dixon and Garth Ennis, that's where you have like what most people associate with the Punisher. Jerry Conway had nothing to do with that. He just did the origins. Honestly, his Punisher is among the shittiest. And he is now against the Punisher and the logo and everything. He even did like a BLM gay queer
My
pride
guess is
logo
Feige is
with
too.
Punisher to take
To
it
be
back
honest
or
with
something. And when you look in the comics right now, what Marvel is doing, they've completely changed the Skull logo because it's so problematic, and they have had the Punisher join the Hand as a ninja assassin. So now the Punisher, in the comics, go around with a sword killing people with this samurai-like skull instead of the traditional skull emblem.
That's from Daredevil.
The traditional version to be problematic.
The Hand from Daredevil.
Yeah. So my big worry is, what are they going to do with him? And we haven't heard anything official about Bernthal actually having signed on as the Punisher. But I did hear a rumor from one of the out there sources and scoopers. We don't know if it's accurate. I hope it isn't. But according to this scooper, John Bernthal will reprise the Punisher for Marvel's Daredevil. So the Punisher will feature in it, according to this rumor. I don't know if it's accurate, but that is something that was reported by My Time to Shine Hello on Twitter, just so that we have all the credits right. So that credit goes to My Time to Shine Hello. That Bernthal is back. And that tells me either the Punisher will be done right, and Bernthal stuck to his guns, or Bernthal sold out and Marvel got their way, or the whole thing is bullcrap and the Punisher isn't there. I'm hoping that it's going to be the latter, honestly, because if there's one character in the MCU I do not trust Marvel to do right in this day and age, it's the Punisher. And
that, my friends,
if they do have him, how much you want to bet that he's just going to go after the intelligentsia of toxic fans?
Yeah. And that, my friends, is how we go 3 hours a show.
They're going to
and
change
we
the
still
name
haven't got to the main topic yet.
They're going to change the name to the Mistreater.
The Mistreater.
So it's a little bit lower than the Punisher, and not as nasty sounding. I am the Mistreater.
How about the Problematic?
Oh,
the problematic guy.
Or ouch! Don't hurt me.
Well, of course they had to put him in the Hand, which is they're generally bad.
Well, they're
of course
ninjas.
they had to make him bad. Yeah,
Hands are ninjas. He's not a ninja.
Well, he's now.
Yeah,
he's a ninja master. I
He's
kid
an assassin.
You not. He's like the master assassin for the Hand.
Cosmic Vader says, Andre, what would be the best Punisher comic in your opinion?
Oh, easy. The Max Run by Garth Ennis. So if you are new to the Punisher, you don't know where to begin, if you just want to... Okay, I'll give two recommendations. One is that if you're not familiar with the character, you just want to get into it to see what it's about, what you want to check out is a giant trade paperback that's called Welcome Back, Frank. That was Garth Ennis' initial run on the title, and it's amazing. If you really are into that, then I wouldn't continue with this direct sequel series. Then you want to upgrade to Garth Ennis' Punisher Max stories. These are, in my opinion, the finest Punisher stories ever told, because here Garth Ennis moves the Punisher away from the standard Marvel universe to kind of like our universe, to a universe where there are no superheroes of any kind. What you have is a grizzled old 60-something Vietnam vet Punisher that still goes out killing people, and he's been doing it for 30, 40 years. And then it's his continuing stories with someone who is by now a serial killer and a total psycho. Those are the best Punisher stories ever made, and the ones I highly recommend. So again, for just a dip, Welcome Back, Frank. For the deep dive, the entirety of Garth Ennis' Max Run.
There you go.
That's true for you as well, Chato. I mean, you would love those comics.
Yeah, I like the Punisher versus Nancy and Sluggo. That was That was a good run.
You have to read Punisher versus Archie.
Oh yeah,
I'm not joking. That's a real thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is.
Wow. Does
That-
he
that
get
exists
Veronica?
well.
You
Yeah.
got Betty
This-
and Veronica at the same time.
Yeah. Oh man, he's a.
Let's just make sure Mindy Kaling doesn't discover Nancy and Sluggo. That's just
Oh Lord.
terrible. Nancy and
Oh, Lord.
Sluggo are next.
Then it'd become Pritta and Sluggo.
Yeah.